This segment right now is brought to you by the letter Q, specifically QAnon.
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 QAnon. QAnon.
QAnon. QAnon. QAnon. QAnon. QAnon.
QAnon.
QAnon.
QAnon.
QAnon.
Let me introduce you to QAnon.
They wore shirts and signs emblazoned with only the letter Q.
Emblazoned with the letter Q. The fringe
conspiracy theory group.
Broad and often bizarre, it's difficult to believe.
There are people who actually believe this stuff. It takes one conspiracy and puts them all together.
This is crazy. This is insanity. This is all insane and incoherent.
So what is Q? What is QAnon? What's it all about?
Looking for a fast way to track what's moving online right now? Head over to Qnotables.com. It's a centralized index of notable clips, headlines, and references being shared across the community, organized for quick browsing. Use it to spot patterns, pull links, and build your own research list. Qnotables.com. Browse the notables, verify the facts, stay informed. All reports can be found on Q Research or Qnotables.com. Notables do not equal endorsements. We are researchers who deal in open source information, reasoned argument, and dank memes. We do battle in the sphere of ideas and ideas only. We neither need nor condone the use of force in our work here.
From the Q Research Board's June 1st, 2026. Good morning, America. This is Qnotables 4 a.m. Talking Points Live. We begin with the top story. U.S. forces are now in direct action against Iranian military infrastructure. CENTCOM confirmed that American forces carried out self-defense strikes against Iranian radar and drone command and control sites in Newark, Iran, and on Qeshm Island. The strikes came after aggressive Iranian activity, including the downing of a U.S. drone over international waters. This is a clear signal that the United States is no longer simply watching Iran's moves. It is actively hitting the systems Iran uses to threaten American forces and commercial traffic in the region. CENTCOM also reported that U.S. forces have redirected 118 commercial vessels and disabled 5 as part of the blockade against Iranian ports. That number shows the scale of the maritime pressure campaign now being applied. This is not symbolic. It is physical enforcement on the water. Ships are being redirected, access is being restricted, and Tehran's military and economic networks are being squeezed. The message to Iran is simple. Aggression now comes with direct consequences. Inside Iran, the pressure is not only coming from the outside. New reporting says Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian has offered to resign amid claims that the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has taken deeper control over the state. The story points to a serious power struggle inside Tehran. The question now is whether Iran's civilian government is still functioning as a government, or whether the IRGC has effectively taken command. That matters because an Iran run directly by the Guard is an Iran moving deeper into military confrontation. The Iran story expands further with leaked documents reportedly linking Chinese firms to an IRGC missile fuel supply network. The documents describe Chinese, Turkish, and UAE-linked companies allegedly involved in helping Iran acquire chemicals tied to ballistic missile production. The reporting also connects sodium perchlorate shipments to Iran's military supply chain. This points to a wider sanctions evasion system supporting Iran's missile program, while Tehran continues threatening U.S. forces and regional allies. AUKUS is also moving forward as the United States, United Kingdom, and Australia prepare new undersea defense capabilities. The partners announced plans focused on unmanned undersea vehicles, mine countermeasures, seabed protection, strike capability, and surveillance. Delivery of these capabilities is expected to begin in 2027. This is a major Indo-Pacific development because the future fight with China will not only be fought in the air or on the surface. It will be fought under the water, near cables, ports, submarines, and critical infrastructure. AUKUS ministers also reaffirmed plans to stand up Submarine Rotational Force West in Australia by 2027. That move would place a rotating nuclear-powered submarine presence at HMAS Stirling in Western Australia. This puts Allied undersea power closer to the Indo-Pacific theater and gives the U.S. and its partners a stronger forward position as China continues expanding its military footprint. The alliance is moving from statements to hardware, basing, and operational presence. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth added pressure on allies during a major security forum in Singapore. Hegseth criticized New Zealand over defense spending and said America will no longer tolerate allies freeloading off the U.S. military. His message fits the broader Trump-era standard. Allies are expected to carry their share. In a more dangerous Pacific environment, Washington is making clear that partnership cannot mean America pays, America deploys, and everyone else watches. In Moldova, the foreign minister says NATO membership is not realistic right now because most Moldovan citizens do not support joining the alliance. Moldova remains under pressure from the war in nearby Ukraine and from Russian influence in the region, but its government is signaling that public opinion remains a barrier. This is another reminder that NATO expansion is not only a military question. It is a domestic political question inside every country being pulled between East and West. Turning now to domestic politics. President Trump pushed back again against CNN and the broader corporate media, calling them a low-ratings disaster. The criticism lands at a time when public trust in legacy outlets remains weak and audiences continue leaving traditional networks for independent platforms. Trump's argument is straightforward. The media spent years shaping narratives and the public noticed. Whether the networks admit it or not, their credibility problem has become one of the central stories in American politics. CNN is also taking heat after Dana Bash advanced the idea that America's 250th anniversary should not simply be a joyful national celebration. That drew backlash because millions of Americans see the anniversary as a time to honor the country's founding, sacrifice, and survival. The divide is clear. The media class often frames America through guilt and grievance. Many citizens see the country as flawed, but still worth defending, celebrating, and preserving. President Trump also posted, "Has anyone ever seen a happy Democrat?" It was a classic Trump line, short, mocking, and built for online circulation. His supporters see it as a direct jab at a political opposition that seems angry no matter what happens. Critics will complain, but Trump's communication style has always mixed attack, branding, humor, and crowd signal. That formula still drives attention and keeps his message moving. President Trump welcomed home Justo Betancourt after a long fight by his daughter, Ariane, to free him from alligator Alcatraz. The story is being framed as another example of an individual family refusing to give up when the system fails. For Trump supporters, it reinforces a familiar theme: forgotten people, hard pressure, public recognition, and a president willing to name the people caught inside the machine. President Trump returned to the White House from his Virginia golf course and briefly waved to the press before entering the residence. The moment itself was routine, but every public movement by the president now draws attention because of the pace of events around him. Iran, immigration, trade, media fights, and legal battles are all moving at once. The White House remains the center of a packed national and international news cycle. Dan Scavino posted the line, "Every journey has an end," and online political watchers immediately took notice. Supporters connected the message to older references and timing speculation. Whether it was a signal, a reflection, or a simple statement, Scavino's post landed with an audience trained to watch every word, image, date, and timestamp from Trump's inner circle. In this information environment, even one sentence can become a full discussion. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries is facing criticism over his position on Delaney Hall and immigration enforcement. Jeffries has called for the facility to be shut down, while federal officials argue the site is part of lawful immigration detention operations. The clash puts Democrats on defense while the public watches riots, arrests, blocked roads, and attacks on officers unfold around the same facility they want closed. Immigration is no longer just a policy debate. It is now a public order test. The Obama White House Instagram account was reportedly hacked. The inactive account, associated with the former Obama administration, allegedly posted unauthorized material before the breach drew public attention. The account had not been active for years, making the incident more embarrassing than operationally damaging. Still, it shows that old political accounts can remain targets long after the administration behind them has left office. The lead prosecutor in the federal case against former FBI Director James Comey has stepped aside. The case centers on Comey's social media post showing seashells arranged as 8647, which prosecutors allege was a threat against President Trump. The Justice Department did not publicly explain the change. Comey's trial is currently set for October, keeping one of the most politically sensitive legal cases in the country alive. British spy Christopher Steele is back in the spotlight after reporting said he was codenamed Crown by the FBI during anti-Trump operations connected to the Obama and Clinton political machine. Steele was central to the dossier operation that helped fuel years of Russia collusion claims. The renewed focus on his FBI codename adds another layer to the story of how foreign intelligence, federal agencies, political campaigns, and media narratives intersected during the Trump era.
At shop.isawaya.com, everything you buy supports AUKUS.top, the place where people talk freely no matter what. Check out our AUKUS honey pot, a jar of yummy honey that's as strong as your voice. Put it on toaster and tea. It's not just honey, it's freedom in every bite. Then there's AUKUS butter, a smooth handmade skin cream that makes you feel good while you fight for what's right. Awesome wood and pieces for display only. Hang them up or set them out. They're for showing off AUKUS' tough spirit. Want to help even more? Get a proto membership. So go to shop.isawaya.com now and grab some goodies. Help AUKUS.top keep free speech alive, and let's keep the ideas flowing loud and free.
Start your day right with Ahoy the Ship Show, where real talk meets real energy. No fluff, no filter, just stories, opinions, and moments that matter. Catch us live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Your daily launch point for what you need to know, and a few things you didn't. Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. Switch gears with Night Owl News Archives. A laid-back dive into the week's biggest headlines and hidden gems. Miss a show? Visit don'tdeletemebro.com for notes, highlights, and extras. Tap in or get left behind.
All reports can be found on Q Research or Qnotables.com. Notables do not equal endorsements. We are researchers who deal in open source information, reasoned argument, and dank memes. We do battle in the sphere of ideas and ideas only. We neither need nor condone the use of force in our work here.
From the Q Research Board's June 1st, 2026, now to election integrity and political realignment. A pro-Trump presidential candidate has reportedly advanced to a runoff in Colombia. That matters because Latin American politics are shifting. Candidates aligned with stronger borders, anti-socialist messaging, and pro-U.S. positions are gaining attention. Colombia has long been a key regional partner for Washington. A runoff victory by a Trump-aligned candidate could reshape the country's political direction and its relationship with the United States. The Save America Act is also part of the domestic political conversation. President Trump highlighted the measure as part of a broader push to protect American elections, strengthen national sovereignty, and restore public trust in the system. Election integrity remains one of the defining issues for Trump's base. The central message is that a country cannot survive if citizens do not believe elections are secure, transparent, and lawful. Education is also becoming an election issue after years of relaxed academic standards that began during the COVID period. Critics say standardized testing was reduced or removed in the name of equity, and now many students are struggling with basic reading, math, and learning skills. Parents are seeing the results, teachers are dealing with the gaps, and schools are being forced to answer for years of lowered expectations. The classroom is now a ballot box issue. A Minneapolis public school controversy is drawing attention after images and reports raised questions about cultural messaging inside the classroom. Parents across the country are asking the same question. Are schools focused on reading, writing, math, discipline, and citizenship, or are they being used for political and cultural experiments? Public education has become one of the main battlegrounds in American civic life. The FCC is reportedly considering warning labels for shows containing transgender content. Supporters say parents should know what children are being exposed to before they turn on a program. The core issue is parental control. Families want clear labels, clear ratings, and the ability to decide what enters their homes. Entertainment companies have spent years pushing cultural messages into family programming, and parents are demanding transparency. Now to the international conflict bloc. Israel has reportedly captured a medieval crusader castle during fighting against Hezbollah in Lebanon. The value of the site is not only historical, it is tied to terrain, elevation, and control of strategic ground. As Israeli operations continue in southern Lebanon, fortified positions and high ground matter. The northern front remains active, and the risk of a wider Israel-Hezbollah conflict remains high. Reports from France claim another major migrant-related fire incident has drawn public anger in Paris. The larger issue is familiar across Europe: migration pressure, public safety concerns, street disorder, and political leaders who still struggle to answer the basic question of border control. France has faced repeated unrest tied to immigration and policing disputes. The political pressure on French leaders is not going away. Reports out of Europe say Czech leadership is warning that the European Union is following the path of imperial decline. The criticism focuses on mass migration, bureaucracy, weak borders, and cultural instability. That warning reflects a growing divide inside Europe between nationalist governments that want sovereignty restored and EU leaders who continue pushing centralized rules from Brussels. Europe is wrestling with whether it is a union of nations or a centralized managerial project. The European Union is also moving to ban single-use condiment packets for dine-in restaurants under new packaging waste rules. Ketchup, mayonnaise, soy sauce, sugar, and similar packets will be phased out in favor of shared bottles, dispensers, or refillable systems. Brussels says the policy is about reducing packaging waste. For restaurants, it means even the smallest table items are now subject to centralized regulation. German political debate is heating up after reports that some leaders want elderly homeowners to sell property to pay for care before receiving state support. The proposal cuts straight into Europe's aging population problem: high welfare costs, shrinking taxpayer bases, and governments looking for assets to cover the bill. For seniors who worked their whole lives to own a home, the idea of being forced to liquidate it for care is politically explosive. A U.S. delegation is in India for 4 days of trade talks focused on an interim trade agreement. The talks are part of a broader effort to strengthen economic ties between Washington and New Delhi, with both sides working through market access, customs rules, and tariff-related issues. India says major portions of the deal are already complete. The visit could move both countries closer to a first-stage agreement at a time when China remains the larger strategic concern. Victor Davis Hanson is warning about the connection between California politics, elite luxury culture, and the China challenge. His broader point is that America's ruling class often talks about values while depending on systems and markets tied to adversarial powers. The concern is not just hypocrisy, it is strategic weakness. A country cannot confront China effectively while its elites profit from the very dependencies they refuse to fix. Sri Lanka's top monk has reportedly been suspended over allegations involving child sexual abuse. The case has shocked a country where senior religious figures carry major cultural influence. The suspension shows that public pressure and legal scrutiny can reach powerful religious institutions. The next test is whether authorities pursue the case fully or allow status and influence to protect the accused. Africa health officials are monitoring more than 1,100 suspected Ebola cases across parts of the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda. Ebola remains one of the world's most dangerous infectious diseases because outbreaks can overwhelm local medical systems quickly. The key issues now are testing, isolation, contact tracing, and fast public health response before the outbreak spreads further.
Don'tDeleteMeBro.com. 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 Share the site with others. Don'tDeleteMeBro.com. 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 Share the site with others. Don'tDeleteMeBro.com.
All reports can be found on Q Research or Qnotables.com. Notables do not equal endorsements. We are researchers who deal in open source information, reasoned argument, and dank memes. We do battle in the sphere of ideas and ideas only. We neither need nor condone the use of force in our work here.
From the Q Research Board's June 1st, 2026, Now to Crime and Public Order. The crisis around Newark's Delaney Hall ICE detention facility escalated after protesters clashed with law enforcement and arrests followed. Officials imposed a nightly curfew around the facility after days of unrest, blocked roads, and confrontations. Federal officials say officers were assaulted, while state officials blamed outside agitators and national extremist groups for worsening the situation. The fight over immigration enforcement has now moved from policy into street-level enforcement. New Jersey officials say out-of-state agitators helped inflame the protests outside Delaney Hall. The governor said most of those arrested during one round of clashes were not from New Jersey and warned that national extremist groups were joining the demonstrations to create chaos. State police moved in to control the area, while Newark imposed a curfew near the facility. Protest is one thing, organized disorder is another. Federal prosecutors charged an anti-ICE protester accused of attacking officers outside Delaney Hall. The allegations include kicking and biting federal law enforcement officers during the confrontation. Federal officials said peaceful protest does not include assaulting officers, blocking operations, or attacking federal personnel. The case is now part of the broader crackdown on violence surrounding immigration enforcement sites. Reports from the Delaney Hall protest scene say the area was cleared after state police pushed rioters away from the facility. Images and video from the scene showed abandoned supplies near the protest zone after law enforcement restored control. The curfew and police response show that state and federal authorities are moving from crowd management into active enforcement after days of escalating unrest. Online organizing around anti-ICE demonstrations is now under scrutiny. Posts circulating online claim activists used platforms including Blue Sky, Venmo, and Cash App to coordinate and support protest activity. The broader concern is obvious. Modern protest networks can move money, people, supplies, and instructions quickly across social media. Law enforcement is now watching both the street activity and the digital coordination behind it. The death of Kiersey Hickson is being used to renew calls to remove illegal commercial drivers from American roads. The concern is simple. If licensing standards are weak, fraudulent, or politically protected, innocent people pay the price. The push now is for stricter CDL enforcement, better vetting, and serious consequences for states or agencies that allow unqualified drivers behind the wheel of large commercial vehicles. Authorities are reportedly investigating after multiple people were seen entering and exiting a Williamsburg sewer system. The incident raises obvious public safety and infrastructure security questions. Sewer systems can create risks involving trespassing, drugs, vandalism, infrastructure damage, or worse. Until officials explain who was involved and why they were there, the public is left asking what is happening beneath the city streets. A political scandal involving Graham Plattner is expanding after his campaign confirmed he sent sexual texts to women while married. Separate online claims have raised more serious concerns, but the confirmed admission alone is damaging. The story adds another character and judgment problem to a political environment where voters are increasingly skeptical of candidates who campaign one way and live another. Now to technology and culture. New wireless technology is raising privacy questions after reports that Wi-Fi signals can be used to detect movement or shapes through walls. The same concept that could help with rescue operations or smart home sensing could also become a surveillance concern. The issue is not whether the technology is interesting. The issue is whether Americans will be told when it is being used, who controls the data, and how far it can go. World Cup organizers are preparing to use drones equipped with emergency medical gear, including defibrillators and EpiPens. The goal is faster response in crowded stadium areas where seconds can matter. The technology shows how major sporting events are becoming security and emergency management operations as much as athletic competitions. Drones are no longer just cameras in the sky. They are becoming part of the emergency response system. A loud sonic boom rattled parts of the Boston area, triggering questions from residents who heard or felt the blast. Sonic booms can happen when aircraft break the sound barrier, but the public always wants answers when a sudden blast shakes a wide area. These incidents get attention because they are loud, sudden, and unexplained in the moment. The demand now is for a clear answer on what caused it. Medical posts about DMSO are circulating again online, with claims about sinus, respiratory, and eye disease treatments. The larger story is the public's growing distrust of the medical establishment and the speed at which alternative health information now travels. DMSO has a long and controversial history, and it continues to draw interest from people looking for answers outside the official system. Health freedom, medical trust, and censorship remain major public concerns. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. posted about catching a timber rattler during a Colorado River trip with his father in 1967. The post mixed personal history, wildlife, and Kennedy family memory. In a political environment full of war headlines, legal fights, and institutional distrust, it was a human interest moment from a national figure known for environmental issues, health debates, and unconventional public messaging. Now to the closing segment. Online Delta Watch posts for June 1 are circulating again, with users comparing past timestamps, older posts, and current events. These communities track patterns, dates, phrases, and repeated public signals. Whether viewers treat it as research, speculation, or political pattern tracking, it remains part of the online information ecosystem that continues shaping how some audiences follow the news. Posts about predictive programming are also making the rounds, with users arguing that old media, entertainment, and public messaging often seem to foreshadow later events. The phrase "future proves past" is common in those circles. People are comparing old clips to new headlines and asking whether coincidence, messaging, or planning explains what they are seeing. That pattern watch culture is not going away. The phrase TikTok is circulating again online, renewing speculation that something major is approaching. In political internet culture, short phrases like that often become rallying signals, countdown markers, or placeholders for expected events. The phrase itself has become part of the language of people watching the timeline closely and waiting for the next move. Prayer and full armor posts continue circulating among patriotic and faith-based online communities. The message is simple: stay steady, pray for each other, and do not lose heart. In a news cycle filled with war, corruption, violence, and national division, these posts are not just filler, they are morale. For many Americans, faith remains part of how they endure the fight. A Proverbs quote is also being shared: "The wicked flee when no man pursueth, but the righteous are bold as a lion." The message fits the tone of a political moment where many believe hidden corruption is being exposed. Whether read as scripture, encouragement, or warning, the quote reminds people that fear and guilt reveal themselves, while courage belongs to those standing on truth. Messages thanking veterans and service-minded citizens are circulating under the phrase "ever alert." The tone is gratitude and readiness. In a divided country, these posts remind people that service does not always end when the uniform comes off. Some continue serving through family, community, research, faith, and vigilance. The message is simple: stay awake, stay useful, and do not quit. A post about Gretchen Whitmer's sister is circulating online as part of the political chatter around connected families and public influence. Political relatives often draw attention when they make statements, appear near controversy, or become part of a larger narrative. In today's media environment, even second-circle political figures can become part of the national conversation when the public is watching patterns of power. Rob Schneider endorsed Spencer Pratt, adding another celebrity politics item to the day's feed. Schneider has become known for taking public stands outside the normal Hollywood lane, while Pratt brings reality TV name recognition. It is not the lead story of the day, but it shows how entertainment figures continue crossing into political and cultural commentary as audiences move away from legacy media. And that is the rundown. Iran is under direct military and maritime pressure. The ICE fight is turning into a national public order test. The media is still trying to frame America through grievance while the country prepares for its 250th anniversary. Europe is wrestling with borders, bureaucracy, and decline. Technology is moving faster than privacy law, and across the country, citizens are watching, praying, documenting, and refusing to look away. This has been Qnotables 4 AM Talking Points Live. Stay alert, stay grounded, and keep your head on a swivel.
Every voice matters. The power of free speech is more important than ever. Imagine a place where you can share your thoughts freely, explore new ideas, and engage in meaningful conversations anonymously. With online anonymity, you can express yourself without fear of judgment. It's about freedom, creativity, and connection. Join the conversation that matters. Embrace your voice. Celebrate your freedom. Visit 8kun.top today. That's 8kun.top.
That's all for now. Stay alert, stay informed, and never hand your thinking over to anyone on a screen, including me. God bless you, God bless our troops, and God bless the United States of America. See you soon.